story began with a widower named Benjamin Mee. 6 months after losing his wife, he was still grieving his loss. He had to deal with the school behavior issues and the expulsion of his 14-year-old son, Dylan, who was caught stealing in school. He decides to get a fresh start by buying a new house. Then he went touring many houses with his daughter, Rosie, and his real estate realtor, Mr. Stevens. After finding none to his liking, his daughter finds a paper with what seems like a perfect house. Then up they went, driving to a beautiful old large house, and Ben inspects the property, telling his realtor that it is a perfect home. As he tries to explain the situation, the realtor told Benjamin that the house is complicated. He wouldn't understand. Benjamin insisted that the house was perfect for them. As that was going on, they hear a lion roar outside the house. Then the realtor, Mr. Stevens, explains that the house comes with a zoo at the back. The actual compound is like 18 acres, and if they want the house, they have to buy the zoo, which is closed to the public 2 years before. Although Benjamin became reluctant to taking on a zoo and all of the animals, the wild animals, the lions, the tigers in the zoo, he decides to give it a try when he sees how happy his daughter was, Rosie, who started playing with the peacocks once she saw them. Dylan, his son, however, hates the idea of moving away from his friends. Retreating to his artwork, which he was fond of, Ben's brother, Duncan, tries to dissuade him from purchasing such property. A zoo? Who on earth buys a zoo? Man, you don't do that. But Ben buys it anyway, refusing to listen to his brother. The zoo staffs were happy that here a new owner is now around who could take care of them. The staff was led by the 28-year-old head keeper named Kelly Foster. Ben started renovating the zoo with our help and the rest of the staff. Now, they had to work hard to renovate it so that they can reopen the zoo back to the public. When Kelly confronts Ben about why he bought a zoo, knowing nothing about how to run a zoo, Ben thinks about it and responds, "Why not?" Dylan, Ben's son, started befriending Kelly's 13-year-old homeschooled cousin, Lily Miska, who also works at the zoo and has a huge crush on Dylan, to which he is obviously and completely ignoring. A strict USDA inspector in charge of checking out zoos, Mr. Waltz, shows up for a surprise inspection of the zoo and makes a large list of repairs that would cost around $100,000 US. Benjamin runs into financial trouble because he didn't expect to spend so much in repairing and catering for the expenses of running a zoo, because he doesn't have the money for the repairs. The zoo worker that handles the accounting started gossiping to other staff that Ben is out of money and that he will probably sell the zoo at a cheaper price for another person. After which the workers started feeling down on hearing that Benjamin will soon sell the property. They started feeling sad. Lily tells Dylan that she heard his family might be leaving soon. Instead of Daylan to be sad, he was overjoyed, which hurt Lily's feelings because Lily felt he didn't like her as much as she did because Daylan wasn't supposed to be happy. But then Ben discovers that his wife had left him an investment account with instructions to use the money wisely while listening to his heart. Duncan, Benjamin's brother, advises him to walk away with the money and start a new life and abandon the zoo. But Benjamin decides to use the money to repair the zoo instead. While this lifts the zoo workers' morale, Daylan is unhappy about having to stay. He confronts his father, and in a heated argument, they reconciled the next morning. Daylan admits that he misses Lily, who often showed up to give him food every evening. Lily had to abandon Daylan when she noticed that he didn't really like her the way she thinks. Ben gives his son advice using his favorite principle that you only need 20 seconds of courage to achieve great things in order to reconcile with Lily. Ben realizes that instead of trying to start over by forgetting his wife, he should accept that she will always be a part of him. Prior to the grand opening of the zoo, the facility passes a very stringent inspection from Ferris, who begrudgingly wishes them good luck. Daylan, following his father's advice, confesses to Lily that he loves her and she forgives him. The evening prior to the zoo's grand opening, the worst rainstorm in 100 years is predicted to wash it out, and the rain did occur. They were disappointed the next morning when there were no visitors at the zoo after they had opened, though they soon discovered that a fallen tree had blocked the access road. Scrambling over the tree, they discovered a huge crowd of waiting visitors who climbed over the tree with the zoo's staff help and entered the zoo. So many people came to visit to the extent that they ran out of tickets, which forced Ben and Kelly to run searching for tickets, where they met in a shed. As they were trying to look for the ticket, they ended up looking at each other face to face. Kelly admits to Benjamin that she has a crush on him, but she can't get a handle on it. She then kisses Benjamin, telling him maybe they can do that again on New Year's Eve. The Benjamin also replies by kissing her back and telling her that he's looking forward to it. Obviously, the feeling is mutual. Benjamin then takes his children to the restaurant where he met their mother, explaining that it was the point where they became a possibility. He demonstrated his encounter with their mother to the children, where Ben worked up the nerve to talk to his future wife with 20 seconds of courage, just the way he taught Daylan. He walks up to the table that she was at and visualizes her sitting there. Then she asks her why such an amazing woman would talk to someone like him. Then his wife responded, "Why not?" And so the story ended, and they lived happily ever after, with the zoo still operating perfectly till this very moment. Subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories like this.